Brenda froze. The color drained from her face as she stared at me, the clipboard still hanging limply in her hand. Her tirade, a storm of fury just moments before, had been met with a calm that she had never encountered, a quiet finality she couldn't comprehend. She glanced at my phone, a sudden fear flickering in her eyes. It was the look of a tyrant who had just realized their power was an illusion, and the world they had so carefully constructed was about to collapse. "What? What do you think you're doing?" she stammered, her voice suddenly small, devoid of its usual piercing authority. I lowered my phone, keeping my eyes locked on hers. "I'm making a report, Brenda, a very detailed one." The silence that followed was broken by the distant but rapidly approaching wail of a siren. It started as a faint whisper, then grew into a blaring, undeniable reality. Brenda's head snapped towards the end of the street, her jaw dropping. The neighbors who had been peeking from their windows suddenly retreated, pulling curtains shut as if to hide from the impending drama. The siren sound was a clear, unvarnished declaration that Brenda's world was no longer under her control. A black and white cruiser pulled up to the curb, its lights flashing, painting my new car and Brenda's horrified face in alternating red and blue hues. Two officers stepped out, their uniforms crisp and their expressions stoic. They were both tall, with an air of professional detachment that made Brenda's frantic theatrics seem even more ridiculous. "Sir, you called about a domestic disturbance?" one of the officers, a man with a tired but kind face, asked me. Before I could answer, Brenda surged forward, her clipboard now a shield she clutched to her chest. "Officers, thank God you're here. This man is a menace. He's threatening me and defying every single bylaw in this community. He's a public hazard. I demand you fine him and have this vehicle towed immediately." The officer, Officer Davies, ignored her entirely. He walked past her, his gaze sweeping over my pristine driveway, the perfectly manicured lawn, and then settling on the deep, jagged scratches marring the hood of my car. His partner, Officer Miller, was already walking to the driver's side, notebook in hand. "Looks like a violation of the peace and property damage," Officer Davies said, his voice flat. He turned to me. "Sir, can you tell us what happened?" I took a deep breath. "Officer, I was standing here admiring my new car when Mrs. Brenda here, the HOA president, came out and began to harass me about how I was parked. She claimed I was violating a bylaw, which I wasn't. When I didn't back down, she got angry. Very, very angry. I gestured to my phone. I began recording her once she started getting hostile, and she then proceeded to vandalize my vehicle." Brenda's face contorted. "He's lying. It was self-defense. He was threatening me. He was intimidating me." Officer Davies raised a hand, silencing her. "Ma'am, we'll get to you in a moment. Sir, do you have that video?" "Yes, officer," I said, my heart pounding with a mix of relief and nervous energy. I unlocked my phone and handed it to him. As Officer Davies watched the video, Brenda's face went through a rapid series of emotions. Defiance, disbelief, then a cold, creeping horror. She saw herself on the screen, a monster of her own making, her face contorted with rage, her body thrashing as she slammed the clipboard into my car. The sound of the plastic hitting the metal, a noise that had been muffled in the moment, was sickeningly clear on the recording. Officer Davies handed me back my phone. He didn't need to say anything. The look on his face said it all. He turned to Brenda, his expression no longer tired but stern. "Brenda Harris, you are under arrest for vandalism and assault." Brenda's world shattered. "Assault? You can't. This is my community. I'm the president. I'm a respected member of this neighborhood." Officer Davies and Officer Miller exchanged a look. "Ma'am, the video clearly shows you swinging your clipboard at the man. That's a clear case of assault. And the damage to his vehicle is a clear case of vandalism. Your position in the HOA is not a get-out-of-jail-free card." Brenda's protests escalated into frantic, tearful pleas. "No, you can't do this. This is all a misunderstanding. My husband, Councilman Harris, he'll hear about this. He'll have your badges." Officer Miller, who had been quietly taking notes, spoke for the first time. "Ma'am, your husband's position doesn't change the law. Please turn around and place your hands behind your back." As the officers cuffed Brenda, the neighbors who had been watching from their windows began to emerge. Mrs. Peterson, a sweet old lady who had been a frequent target of Brenda's nitpicking, offered a small, knowing smile. Mr. Garcia, a landscaper Brenda had once threatened to sue over a leaf blower, nodded in solidarity. A few others just stared, their expressions a mix of shock and a quiet, profound satisfaction. Brenda, now in handcuffs, was led to the police car, her fuchsia suit looking less like a symbol of power and more like a clown's costume. As she was placed in the back of the cruiser, she turned her head, her tear-streaked face a grotesque mask of fury and shame. She glared at me, her eyes burning with a promise of a revenge far more sinister than a scraped car. As the police car drove away, the siren's wail fading into the distance, I was left alone in my driveway. The silence that followed was surreal. The community, once under the iron fist of Brenda's tyranny, was now free. I looked at my car, the scratches and the dent now a symbol of not just a financial loss, but a hard-won victory. This was the end of one battle, but I knew, as I looked at the quiet street, that the war for this neighborhood's soul had just begun, and I was ready for it.